complicated. And you were tired of complicated. You wanted something clean. You wanted an end that didn't require too much planning. But everything required steps, tools, access, explanations, and suddenly your heart was pounding in your throat. Not because you were afraid, but because you felt trapped in the maze of it all. Even leaving required too much of you. And that somehow became its own weight. You set the phone down. You stared at the wall, and for the first time in hours, you breathed out. Not because anything was better, not because you felt strong, but because the chaos itself, the inability to even do the thing you thought you wanted, had snapped something loose. You were still stuck, still aching, but also still here. Not by bravery, not by hope, just by default, by confusion, by the overwhelming fatigue of trying to control something that didn't make sense. And for what it's worth, you woke up the next day, still foggy, still heavy, but you made coffee. You opened a window, you fed the pet, you replied to a text, you stared at the floor again, but this time with a blanket over your legs and a bit more sunlight in the room. It wasn't progress, it wasn't healing, but it was survival in its slowest, messiest, least inspirational form. And maybe that's a kind of grace too. Not knowing what you're doing, not having a noble reason, just sticking around because the alternatives were unclear and you were too tired to keep trying to figure them out. You stayed because you couldn't uninstall life like an app, because nothing made enough sense to follow through, because even confusion can be a reason. And now, as we take another slow breath together, let that reason settle in you, even if it's small, even if it's weird, even if it's something you'd never say out loud, because staying, for any reason, is still staying. And now, let's gently move into our next story,